I know one thing you mentioned early in the season was that, maybe Zach's lack of elite play early in the season was being paired with two young defensive tackles. That's obviously changed as they've matured, but that led me to think of this question. If you had things to do over in any area, what might you have done differently early in the season at any position, schematically? What comes to mind?
Yeah, I think in hindsight, if there was a mistake that I'd go back and say that I made was the assumption going into year two was that you can build on year one. And in training camp with a lot of the guys that were out there playing for us, they had been here, right? So you felt that. You felt like there was a foundation there and you could lay some bricks and build upon that. Once we got into that first game, the guys that were actually out there playing, you realize, oh my God, a lot of these guys either just got here or were young. So I probably overestimated the schematic knowledge of the group as a whole. So in hindsight, I probably would do less just to give us an opportunity to go out there and execute and play fast, physical, with elite technique, as our head man is always preaching. Um, just because the connection and the camaraderie and the trust and the communication, I probably overestimated where that was based on training camp. And again, you go back, you think about some of the guys like um, if he missed time in training camp, Ashton got hurt early, missed a ton of time, right? Even Trader as a young rookie really didn't start practicing fully until that week before the Indianapolis Colts game. So when you combine that with some of the new additions on outside with Jack Jones and then Storm getting hurt and Sewell going in. There's just a lot of new guys out there playing early. And in hindsight, I would probably do a little bit less to give us a better chance to go out there and be successful.
Thank you.
David Fronis?
Hey, Dave.
Hey, Weave, how you doing this morning?
Wonderful, wonderful.
Good, good. So I want to ask you about Jason Marshall. Makes his first career interception. A guy who has been versatile. You move him to the nickel slot. Played some safety at one point, and just to see how versatile he has been, how he has taken on different roles, and then come through with an interception for the first time
Yeah,
as a
yeah.
pro.
Incredibly proud of that kid, right? You could say we were playing him at a position it was foreign to him, right? That nickel spot. And like you said, when you're playing safety at nickel, yeah, that nickel guy, he can play safety, he can play nickel, corner at times. He's sometimes playing inside backer and has to be in the box. So he's asked to do a ton of jobs. And to that kid's credit, regardless of what we've thrown at him, he never flinched. He just attacked it head on. He'd make his mistakes and then learn from them. So was super proud for him just to have the production he did in that game. And it's truly just a testament to his hard work, regardless of situation, right? He's kind of been in and out of the lineup, had some injuries, but just kept his head down and worked, man. And that's when you do that, typically in whatever position you play, like that's what happens, right? You just keep working until production starts to follow. And fortunately for that kid, it did.
And I think we're going to be meeting Sean Ryan today, who took over
Oh,
the who took over the outside linebackers at the start of the season. What should we know about him, about what he did taking on that role kind of on the fly as someone who obviously was close to the group, I'm sure, but then had to really take over the unit and lead them.
yeah, and incredibly difficult task for him, right? Sean Ryan, I've known a long time. We worked together in Houston, and he's got a quarterback background. Two-time Super Bowl winner, right? Was there with the Giants, Coach Eli Manning, but was brought in essentially to give me an offensive perspective, right? While we're calling defenses. So I had a guy who can see things through the lens of a quarterback. Last year, in doing that, I also had him work with the outside backers. So he did have a relationship with all those guys. When we had the unfortunate incident, we were kind of put in a situation where, yeah, I could go in there, but that was going to diminish some of the things that roles I have as a DC. Have done that. I've lived that world in Houston, and it is not an enviable one. I promise you that. It's something I never want to do again. We could bring somebody from the outside, which, as the head coach, you're a little bit leery of that, which I completely understood. Um, So we asked Sean, and he was one of those guys. He did not shy away from it. He actually asked for it early on, as soon as everything went down. And I think he's done an incredible job with those guys, right? Being put in that situation. I think it just shows that he's not just an offensive guy. He's not a quarterback coach. He's a football coach, right? And he can help those guys beyond scheme. And yeah, we brought in Shu to help supplement him and help him a little bit. But man, just incredibly proud of the job he's done with those guys. But yeah, when you talk to him, you'll see he's a knowledgeable guy and has a wealth of knowledge, and he's won a lot in this league. So uh, look forward to you guys meeting him because I think
Great.
really highly of him.
All right. Thank you.
Chris Perkins.
Hey, Perk,
Hey, Weave, how you doing? Happy New Year to you.
man, you got a nice house back there.
Yeah, you like that? I figured you might like that. Looks familiar, huh? Hey, I wanted to ask you about two aspects of your defense since the first time you played the Patriots, your run defense and your ability to create takeaways.
Mm, yeah, much improved, right? Much improved. That first game, um, some of the cracks we had in the wall were truly just our young bucks still maturing and growing, right? There are opportunities there for them to make plays where they're just uh, so committed to making sure they took on their blocks the right way, right? We missed a couple tackles. The quarterback got out on a couple. I think they ended with like 122, 130, something like that. Uh, Obviously, just as a group as a whole, 11, not just the young bucks, we've improved just in terms of just understanding of the defense, what we need to get done, where guys need to fit, and all those things. The takeaway thing, we know that's how we win, right? That's how this team wins. When we get the ball, however we get it, whether it's on special teams or on defense, we tend to at least be in those games and most of the time win them. So again, I think it's just a credit to the guys. We've been preaching attacking the ball and being ball conscious from the first day we got back in the spring. It was awesome to see those things kind of come in bunches, really probably from that Jets game on.
All right, thanks.
Travis.
Weave, what's up, man? How are you doing?
Hey, Trav, what's up, man?
So Ferona sniped me a little bit there on the Jason Marshall question, but I think it's different enough that I'll still ask it because there was a rep in the game where they shift Evans into the slot on Jason, and he winds up like inverting his coverage into the deep
Yeah.
half, drives back down for the breakup on third down. And to me, that seemed like a really good feel rep, right? For a young player, he felt where the concept took him. What can you say about where Jason has grown from camp to now playing that new position with his feel?
Yeah, I think it's probably just overall knowledge schematically, right? And what we're trying to get done. And the other beautiful thing I think is he got to watch Minka go out and execute those reps successfully a bunch of times, right? And absorbed all that. He wasn't one of those guys that was just kind of out there, talking trash with his teammates. Like he was taking it all in and getting all those mental reps. So when his opportunity came again, you could tell he had been watching and learning. That rep in particular was awesome, just because it's one of those plays where it's bang bang. And to Baker's credit, like we had a free runner early, right? Back kind of found it late. We were about to hit him, and he still threw a dot, right? And we needed Marsh to absolutely be there and break that pass up. It was a heck of a play, and again, it was truly just the result of all his work and his study habits.
If I could ask a second question, another
Yeah.
player that seems to really be coming on here down the stretch. I'm curious, is there a trait or two now that you see in Kenny and Kenneth Grant where you can kind of measure it against how he was, again, going back to training camp and
Mhm.
early on to now and be like, man, there's been some work put in there and it's paying off?
Yeah, yeah. I thought this past game in particular, and it's really been showing up a lot in recent weeks, is he's been effective in the pass rush. You may not see it statistically, but he's knocking guys back in their laps. He's beating them. The ball is just getting out. His run technique has improved dramatically from when he first got here, and I still think there's steps to take. But as he becomes more consistent in his run technique, I tell you what, just his sheer mass and power, he is going to help our edges get a lot of sacks and already has.
That's great. Thanks, coach.
Alan.
Good morning, Weave. Happy New Year.
Hey, Alan, Happy New Year.
Um, in talking to Craig, he mentioned Cameron Good as a guy who's made like big jumps from the start of the season to now on his special teams unit. I wanted to ask you about him in terms of what he's given you on defense and what you feel his ceiling might be as an edge defender.
Yeah, I think Cam has his effort all year has been consistent, right? And for us defensively, you know two things about him. He's going to be where he needs to be, doing what he needs to do, and he's going to play with his hair on fire. And you feel that when you watch the tape. I think he could still probably, if you're asking me about what his ceiling is, I think he could probably still add a little bit of weight and strength to be a little bit more stouter in the run game, in that, and also make his pass rush probably a little bit more effective if he had a bigger threat of power, right? And that doesn't necessarily need to come through mass. That can come through a long arm stab and things like that. But what makes all your athleticism and edge rush real, particularly as an edge defender, is when that offensive lineman can think, "Oh my God, is this guy going to embarrass me and put me on the quarterback's lap by just running me over?" If that's not real, it's hard to consistently win with just finesse edge moves if you don't have elite talent. He has talent, but there's very few like Von Millers, Derek Thomases, Lawrence Taylors in the world, right? Even Dwight Freeney, what made his spin move and his edge stuff real was at some point he was going to stutter and put his helmet underneath your chin. Now I know you can't do that in today's game. They're going to say that's a penalty or something. Still happens, right? And he was going to put you on the quarterback's lap and offensive tackle. And if you're a dude and I just put my hand in your chest and push you backwards, you're going to get mad. It's no different in football when you get powered as an offensive tackle.
I have a quick other question, completely unrelated. Did I hear correctly, or did you call Sean Ryan shoe or shoot?
No, no. Bill Shuey
Oh,
is
sure.
brought
Okay,
in to
sorry, my bad.
assist with the outside backers. Yeah. So
Got
no,
it. Okay,
Sean is Sean, and Shu is Shu.
thanks.
Yep.
We've got time for one last question. We'll close it out here with Hal.
Oh, save the best for last, Hal.
That's a lot of pressure, Anthony. I'm telling you. First, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
I wanted to go back to the takeaways if we could for a minute.
Mhm.
At the beginning of the year, they weren't coming for you the way you would have wanted. And then as the year went on, the pace really picked up, it seemed. And is there anything more that was going on behind the scenes that led to the uptick? Was it simply your speech that you gave us about playing with violence, or was there
No,
more to it?
no. If that was the case, I've given a lot of good speeches, man, and they've fallen short. All right. Yeah, there is no speech winning any games. But no, I think it's truly a credit to the guys and just them continuing to grow, know each other, and then just growing within the scheme and knowing when they could take their shots, right? I think that's probably the biggest thing. We were always talking about attacking the ball, trying to take strip attempts, punch attempts. I think that worked against us a little bit versus Carolina when that's all we were trying to do instead of just tackle the guy with the ball. All right. But I think in terms of the picks, just overall knowledge of the scheme, when they could, take calculated risks within the scheme and go and make those plays. And then I think just the camaraderie of the group. I just think around that Jets game, they just committed to each other that we're going to find a way to get this done, right? Through sheer like effort and force and just having a pack mentality. And it was just cool to kind of see those guys just come together as a unit. I mean, you guys have seen it. You guys see how close they are. Just when they're chanting each other's names when they have success. Like when you have that, um, you usually have a chance, right? Because football is all about being a team and united and having 11 guys play as one. It's hard to win this game with a group of individuals, and we had to build to that. Inevitably, we got there. I thought when we got out, we got knocked out of the playoffs, we took a step back a little bit, all right, just because we were pressing. And I thought last week we got back to who we were, and hopefully we can go out and finish this thing the right way and continue with that this week.